It wasn't too long ago when Russell Westbrook was just... Man, run the tape.
Oh, real man! Jailbreak, what a pass! What a pass! Play of the day! Westbrook shows from the basketball, goes to the rim! Gives it back to Russ, deep shot! What a perfect ending to a historic day!
Words cannot define how electric it was to watch Russell Westbrook back in 2017. Every game, the man was going to drop a ridiculous stat line and entertain the crowd, but the perception with Russell Westbrook since that season has vastly changed. Despite him putting up numbers that for any other player would immediately put them in that superstar conversation without question. We've gone from asking ourselves whether Russ is a fringe top 5 player in the NBA to if he's even a top 20 player in just 3 years. Why exactly? Well, today, we'll talk about that in this video, and also how Russell Westbrook has a chance to change how the vast majority of NBA fans view him. Before we get started, it'd be very appreciated if you guys can leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on noties. I upload videos like this all the time on my channel, and if you guys enjoy content like this, then make sure to subscribe and keep up to date with all my latest uploads. But with that being said, let's first answer the question, how has Russell Westbrook been so disliked? Because it wasn't too long ago when Russell Westbrook was viewed as a player who had the potential to be the best point guard in the league. He has uber athleticism, he's a great finisher at the rim, he seemed like he had a potential to be a perimeter threat as well, he has a great personality, his assists are high, his rebounds are high, and from the looks of it, he had the potential to be a good defender as well due to his previously mentioned athleticism. But now he's a player where most people, quite frankly, have trouble finding what's good about him than what isn't. How did we even get here? There are 3 factors that I think have contributed to Westbrook's changed perception. Number 1 is advanced analytics, number 2 is NBA YouTube, and number 3 is simply his lackluster playoff performances. The last couple of years, there has been this advanced analytics revolution in the NBA world that has caused the NBA as a whole to emphasize the 3-ball more than ever. And in that process, Russell Westbrook, especially compared to most point guards, has failed to adapt to current times because he's probably the only star guard in the league that isn't a 6'10" point guard that's a well below average 3-point shooter. And advanced analytics kind of intertwined with my next point, and that is NBA YouTube and just social media in general. Why? Well, let's just keep it a buck. There have been countless of videos on YouTube talking about Russell Westbrook that try to apply proper context to his statistics that more often than not have the same overarching narrative. And that is when you apply proper context to Westbrook's stats, they simply are not as good as they seem. What are high assists when you have high turnovers? What are high points per game when your efficiency and shot selection continues to be poor year in and year out? What are high rebounds when Westbrook getting 10 rebounds a game is vastly inferior to the 10 that Rudy Gobert is getting? What are triple doubles when what the stat stands for gets lost when you consider the things I just mentioned? What are triple doubles when there are players who average less assists, less rebounds, and in some cases less points that are arguably better because of the skill set they bring to the table? And countless of videos on this platform have been made on this by creators that do have a lot of influence, that have really painted Russell Westbrook in a different light. Now, is that fair to Westbrook? Well, I do think that contextualizing stats is pretty important. It just happens to be that Russ's career is the perfect example for a lot of these cases. But what makes it even worse are the consistent lackluster playoff performances. This happened numerous times when KD was on the team. KD leaves, Russ gets bounced out in the first round in 2017, but okay, he didn't have star help, so cool, he gets a pass. Paul George is then traded to OKC, and while I already detailed PG's underperformances in my last video, link in the description if you haven't watched, there's a case to be made that Russell Westbrook underperformed even more both in 2018 and in 2019. And then while yes, there's a case to be made that Russ's injuries affected him in this year's 2020 playoffs, Russ averaging 19.8 points on 42-26-54 splits and averaging 4 turnovers while only putting up 5 assists a game did not help his narrative at all. And the combination of these 3 factors that overlap a lot has completely changed how Russell Westbrook is perceived by the community, and quite frankly has transformed him into a meme that signifies a playoff underperformer, a stat patter, a ball hog, a shot chucker, and the poster child of inefficiency. And while there is some truth in those statements, I myself have made videos backing up those statements, I do feel bad. I do. Because there are weirdos on the internet that transform this critique on just his play style, on just how he performs on the court, and transform that into portraying Russ as this bad person, as this bad teammate. And I don't know Russell Westbrook personally, but I would like to bet that in real life he isn't. If anything, I would like to bet that he is a great person. But just a couple weeks ago, Russell Westbrook was traded to the Washington Wizards in exchange for John Wall and a first-round draft pick. And I believe this is actually the perfect place for Russell Westbrook to change his image in the community. I mean, not that he cares, but I believe Russell Westbrook is in the situation that for the first time in his career is catered to highlight the strengths of his game and where he won't really be asked to change his play style for anyone else. I think it's clear at this point that Russell Westbrook is just not made to be a second option, or at least his skill set is not best utilized as a second option. And with Russ being on the Washington Wizards for the first time in his career, he is going to be playing with a star that's already proven to be a great second option to a ball dominant point guard that isn't a great three-point shooter as well in the past in John Wall, and has only improved since 2017. Now you might be saying, B-Souls, didn't he play with Paul George? Well, 2018 was really PG's first year of being a second option, and then the year after, in their final year together, there was even a debate on who the true first option is. Bradley Beal, on the other hand, has true experience already going into his first year with Westbrook in relatively similar circumstances. On top of Bradley Beal, they also have Davis Bertans, another great shooter. They have bigs like Thomas Bryant and Robin Lopez that can stretch the floor a little bit. Denny Avdija has the ability to provide playmaking off the bench out the gates, and Rui Hachimura as well is another interesting piece that can provide them great minutes. On top of all of that, Russell Westbrook is also playing under a coach he's very familiar with in Scott Brooks, and he's in the conference where it's going to be easier to rack up wins, at least compared to the Western Conference. Quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if Russ averaged a near triple-double again on some of the best efficiency in his career, and honestly, based on regular season wins alone, I would not be surprised if they overachieve everyone's expectations. Because Russell Westbrook is in a situation where there won't be a problem with him being the first option. He's in a situation where he has shooters and spacing. He's in the Eastern Conference. He's playing under a familiar coach, and more importantly, Russ isn't going into the season with really any expectations but to lead the Washington Wizards to the playoffs. The only time Russell Westbrook has really had those expectations, apart from his first couple of years in the league, was 2017, and we know how much he succeeded in that type of environment. This to me is honestly the perfect situation for Westbrook to truly be appreciated for the player that he is. And that is a player who will bring you culture, a player who will entertain you night in and night out. A player that is more of a floor raiser than he is a ceiling raiser. And given the stage that Russ is in his career, a stage where there isn't so much pressure on him to win any more awards, make it to certain points in the playoffs, win a certain amount of games, because his legacy for the most part is already established. I think like Chris Paul did last season, and like what Derrick Rose has been doing for the past couple of years, I wholeheartedly believe that Russell Westbrook will flourish in Washington and be more appreciated than he has been the past couple of years. And the fact that Russell Westbrook actually might change his perception throughout the NBA world this season is how Russell Westbrook will shock the NBA. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like on the video. If you didn't, let me know in the comment section why you didn't. Also, this will probably be my last video I upload before Christmas. So to everyone out there, have a happy holiday, spend some time with your family, and if you are not, communicate with them with the best of your abilities and just be grateful for everything that you do have in your life right now, because that's what gets me through a lot of things. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.